Hi, thank you for joining me for another process video, and today I'm using Vicki Boutin's Discover and Create to document some photos of my kids with their cousins back in 2014. They were waiting for one of our neighbours' birthday parties. She was having the party bus. It was parked outside our house, but they were waiting not particularly patiently for Benny to turn up. So in the meantime I took some photos of them and they were all goofing around. It was really cute. So I thought I would choose these three photos from a series of photos to document, and I'm using Vicki Boutin's Discover and Create, perfect collection for these sorts of photos. So I've pulled out 3 of the frames from the chipboard frame set. There are so many frames in that collection, it's absolutely wonderful, and I've situated those over the 3 photos. The photos were printed 3x4 and then I trimmed them down to 3x3, and that was just the right size for these frames. So now I'm using one of the stencils from the collection to push some ink through. I started off with candied apple, but I hadn't realised quite how orange candied apple was, and my niece's dress is very blue-red, so I switched it over to lumberjack plaid, and that's a much better fit. So just going back over where I'd inked with the candied apple, just to bring that tone down a little bit, make it a bit cooler. And then I'm going to come in with my blueprint sketch and add some blue to the bottom triangles. So I'm just trying to fill in this gap that will be sitting on the right hand side of the middle photo. So going in with that blueprint sketch for those triangles, and then I am going to add some of the dots as well. Now I do all of this and you'll see at the end, again, as always, most of it's covered up. But I really like the effect, and I'm sure I will do this again on a future layout. So it was good just to experiment with it anyway. This stencil is lovely. You can layer all the different elements on it as well. I really do like it. I can see lots of potential using this one. So there's my stenciling, and then I'm going to come back in with my black gel pen and just draw around the edges of those lines just to create a nice crisp finish, which is what I wanted on this one. I won't bore you watching it all, but I basically just go around all of the shapes that I've created with the ink. So repositioning my frames, and I really wanted to use this chipboard U, but it just gets completely lost now I've added that stenciling. So I'm going to pull in one of my Tim Holtz stamps, this lovely circle one, and go in with the blueprint sketch and just stamp it in the top right and bottom left, just next to those square frames again, just building up the background. Because I've started with a plain white cardstock, I just want to add a bit of colour to this. And it's only now that I'm looking at the layout, actually, I've realised I haven't used any papers on this one. It's all the elements from the collection. So I love the sketchy look of that circle, and I wanted to add to that. So I just grabbed my black gel pen and just drew some scribbly lines, circles around the edges of those. And it just sort of finishes it off with that black and mirrors the black lines that I've added around the stenciling there. So I switched out that U for hello from the sticker sheet. That doesn't stay either. I will find something in the end that I like a lot better. I try hello U, and I do like the look of that, but yeah, as I say, I find something that I prefer. Same with this camera. I really like it, but it's a bit big and it doesn't stay. I leave it there for a little while trying to work out how to use it. Like this tag, so add that down. I'm trying to, rather than look through everything and find the very best thing to add, I'm trying to just go through the ephemera pieces and the paperie pieces that I've got in this box. As soon as I find something that will work, use that, rather than wasting time digging through and finding the very best every time. Because it always works out really nicely. So sometimes I think I waste time with too much faffing, so I just want to get it done and use the things. So that little blue flower works really nicely in that corner, and then this is a vase with loads of vines in, so I just cover up the vase with the photo and have the vines poking out, and I like the look of that. This butterfly clip is going to go up here next to that tag. And then I am going to find some more butterflies to balance the layout out. Now this is where I switch out my title. I find this that says Capturing the Vibe, and I think that will work really nicely because it's a series of photos of the kids messing around. I just really liked that title. But as you can see, it does cover up an awful lot of those, that mixed media that I've added, the stenciling that I've added in the background, and I will carry on covering it up. So there's another butterfly, as I mentioned, and then there's one at the bottom. I'm bringing that stencil back in just to draw some pen line circles beneath that stamped circle. I just like the look of the black pen lines. So just adding a few of those around the page. Some at the top here. I just love circles. I just added one there because I wasn't entirely sure where that tag was going to go until things are stuck down. I thought I'll just wait and see how things go, and I will add some more in a bit. So just looking through the Paperie stickers, the washi stickers that are in the Paperie pack. This is a folder that I created, and I've got my sticker book in there and also these Paperie pieces. It just works really nicely to hold bits that are a little bit too big to go in those plastic containers that I've got. So I find this one that I've put to the side, it's got that pencil on it, but I really like the shape of the green on the pencil, the greeny yellow. So I'm actually going to use that as a border strip. So just starting to glue down the photos because I realised I really need to have these in place before I start adding washi stickers and things that are a little bit more difficult to move around the page once they're down. So I do a lot of faffing here trying to get those photos in the right position so that I got place for the title and so that you can see the stenciling, which I ultimately cover up. But I get there in the end. It's just sorry about all this moving and messing. I'm trying to work out which angle to put the photos at. All sorts. Do get there shortly. And you can see I've completely disregarded that tag. It's now next to the frame while I try and work all this out. I've just noticed, look, so I'm popping that back up there. And that butterfly clip, I did temporarily try clipping it onto the frame, but it just doesn't work for me as a clip. I always end up just tucking them behind wherever I'm putting them. But they are beautiful. I love the acetate. So I felt that title needed something to sit on rather than just the ink blending that I'd done previously. So I'm just coming in with scattered straw, antique linen, just to add a little bit of a beige background behind that white title. I don't think it really added anything. If anything, I probably shouldn't have done it. It's blended the red a little bit. It's made things a little bit muddy. But it's all covered up by the title, so it doesn't really matter. It was just an experiment that wasn't perfect. So I've glued down that title. You can see it's covering up almost all of that stenciling. Just gluing these other little bits and pieces down, and then I can add those washi stickers that I was talking about. That flower, I couldn't remember. I'm a squirrel at the moment. I can't remember from 1 minute to the next what I'm doing. And then adding these butterflies. That ticket I'm not going to stick down yet because I am going to use my date stamp to stamp the date on there. So just looking around to see what else I can use. And I find this ampersand, and I love ampersands, and the fact that it's black, I decided to use it as an element, overlapping that stamped circle that I put down before. And then here I am with that pencil that I'll rip the top and bottom off so it just looks like a nice border strip. I just love the colour on it. So there we go, that tucks nicely under there, so just tearing that bit off. And then I have enough left to use in another place on the layout, so I'm going to put it above that ticket on the top photo there, just to bring that green in elsewhere on the page. And then covering up the end of the pencil, so you'd never know. And then this gorgeous scalloped border. I am a sucker for anything circular or scalloped, so I'm just going to layer that over that green. And again, there'll be enough left to bring it down to the bottom of the layout as well. So there's that first bit, just making sure that it's straight and that I'm happy with the positioning. So rubbing that on, and then getting this tag stuck down. And it's really starting to take shape now. And that butterfly. So I do decide to stick that one down eventually. There we go. And then this one, and then the one at the bottom. Oh, had I already done that? I forget now. Maybe I'd already done that. So here's that other little bit of that scalloped washi sticker, and I'm going to just pop it along the bottom there over those leaves that I've got going on. And I still want to use this chipboard U. So I decided to put it there because it's you and your cousins. So and then I'm just adding a few more coloured in black circles this time, but so that, because these circles are slightly irregular, just to keep them in the same design as the other ones. I'm using the stencil again. So just bringing a few up here. And so I've got 3 little clusters of those lovely circles. Top left, middle right, bottom left. And then some at the bottom as well, of course. So I'm going to glue that down and then carry on embellishing, because, you know, I've never really finished, have I? So I'm going to add the date stamp, as I say, just using my roller date stamp there. It was 23rd of March 2014. Can't believe it was nearly 10 years ago. And then just get that glued underneath that photo there. Making sure the butterfly's on top of it. And then I see some of the little gold dots that are on the 6x12 stickers. So just adding those, and then I found another little paper clip and it says take note. So I decided to add that as well. And then I wanted a word phrase to go underneath the title. And I find one that says find joy in the simple things. And that's exactly what they're doing, just messing around. They've got nothing on them, but just finding fun. So I glue that down, and that's the final bit to cover up all that stenciling. But it's still peeking through a little bit, so it does serve a purpose. So now I'm going to add some wax twine to the top of that tag, and I find a little paper, what's it called, tassel, paper tassel from Unforgettable collection from Cocoa Vanilla that I've had in my drawer for quite some time, so I decided to add that to the tag. I'm faffing with it a bit because it's flopping a little bit too far over that butterfly and I'm not happy, and in the end you'll see in a minute it's paper tassel, so I just trimmed the ends off and it actually looks much nicer as a smaller tassel in my opinion. So there we go, just grabbing it all together and just trimming that off. Last little bit there that I got stuck, and that's a much better size. It's not interfering with the other elements on the page. So now I'm going to come in with my journaling, and it's a very small amount of journaling because there's not a lot of space left, and it just says waiting to board the party bus for Penny's 7th birthday. So these are the printables that we sell at Hey Little Magpie, and I just wanted something else to go around that title just to fill in that gap next to the vibe. So I punch out the 1-inch circle of the camera and just add that there. So lots of circles going on this layout, and then using my hole reinforcer I'm going to add some black hole reinforced circles. I just find this blue chipboard arrow that I pulled out earlier, so I wanted to glue that down next to the title. I was wondering whether to take it from the top photo down to the title or from the title down to the bottom, but I decided title down to the bottom because James is pulling a ridiculous face in that bottom photo, so I thought that worked. And then some of the JD3D chevrons. So 2 on the left and 1 on the right, just to point into that middle photo where George is goofing around. That's my nephew. Gosh, he'll be 18 in February. Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? They grow up so quickly. Just adding glue to the other one and using my T-square ruler just to make sure that these are level across the centre of the page. So now going back to those hole reinforcers, so I glue that one at the top and then I add another 3. And I just fold them in the centre and then just add the glue to that centrepiece just to give them a little bit of movement and lift them up off the page. So almost there. Find this is another piece that I pulled out before I started. It says Good Times, and it's from the 49er Market Sunburst collection, the chipboard words, and I just thought that worked really nicely. The blue is the perfect match to this Vicki Boutin collection. If you've got Sunburst, do have a look. And then I wanted to add a tab at the top. I just felt like that top space was a little bit blank, so a tab, and I'm going to add a word phrase and a heart just to fill that up. So there's the word phrase, it just says magic, and then a little blue heart, and then I find the page full of word phrases. So I find one to put at the top that says family, and then one to put on the middle, one that says I could scream, and I thought that worked because they were just so excited to get on the party bus. They looked like they were saying I could scream. So now I'm coming in with my gold paint. This is a watercolour paint, and I'm just using the lid of my pen just to create some little circles around the page. You've probably seen me doing this before with black paint, but I thought it would work nicely with the gold on this one, just to bring a bit more gold in. And then I will come in at the end with my black soot oxide ink and just add some splatters of that to finish. Only a teeny tiny bit, just to bring a little bit more black in around. So that's the gold more or less done, and I'm just poking, if it's got a bubble across it, I'm just poking that to stop the bubble from forming, so I get a nice ring rather than a whole full circle. And then here's that black soot, so just using a very thin paintbrush to add some teeny tiny splatters in those 3 places about the page. And that's the layout done. I really hope you've enjoyed this, something a little bit different from me. I'm sorry it was a little bit longer again, but I did enjoy creating this page. It's very busy, but it's great fun. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.